folks. It's Saturday. I did receive tubing by courier yesterday, which I was waiting for, which you can see some of it down here. Unfortunately, I did order two of these bins, but one of them came in 1/8 of an inch too small, so I won't use that one. And one of my collectors over here as well is also a 1/4 inch too small. So those two bits are going to get swapped out, but I've got enough here to make a start again and see where I get to. So basically, just to explain what I'm trying to do here today, I am going to try and work on the bottom two bins or ports, ones that are most sort of hidden away, and then I'll come up to the upper two. So basically I've got the two in behind there, you can see, and then I've got these two straight ones on top, which will need shortening. But anyhow, basically what I'm trying to do is work within the confines of my chassis work and body work. So basically what I'm doing is I've got a bit of old wood here, as you can see. I think it's like 3x2, which is basically the same size as a chassis rail. You can see I've got an X mark there, and that point there is basically my firewall, and I've got a hole drilled here. So I basically slip that on top of my mounting bolt here, and that is mimicking my chassis rail. So that's giving me an idea of the space I've got to work with, which, as you can see, it's pretty snug both every way. So everything's got to drop down, you know, down here before that point there and cut through this little space here. So I'll just get rid of that again for now, and as you can see, I'm going to try and keep this top pipe here sort of as high as possible, away from the chassis, but leaving enough space in here that I can get a ring spanner to get to those studs in there. So yeah, so my first step is to again just work on the ones closest to the engine, and that's going to be basically starting with number 4 here, and that's going to get this hoop is going to get put in here basically to get a bit of length in it. I'm just going to turn that back as soon as I can, just do a tight little bend off the top here going forward, and that'll come into this bend here. And then I am going to join 1 and 4 together. So number 1, that's coming through under here, it's going to come through here and come down straight away, and then they'll merge as soon as possible with one of these mergers, of course. And then from there I'll start bringing number 2 and 3 down over the top, and they'll just sit over top here and sort of sit, merge in front. I'm not sure how this is all going to work as far as being able to remove them as one piece. I suspect I'm going to end up making 4 individual pipes and 4 individual header flanges, with just 2 of the pipes on each set being connected by a merger pipe there. And I think that's going to be the easiest way to get them in and out. I'm going to try, of course, if I can, to make them a set of 4 pipes all joined together, but I think with the space issues I have, trying to get them out as a full set is going to be a bit of a challenge. So we'll see how it goes, see what I can do. Basically, I'll get as much tacked up as I can and see how much it's removable, and worst case scenario I will then make a decision on whether I make 4 individual pipes. There's probably going to be a slip pipe put in somewhere, I imagine, back down towards the back. Again, just to be able to get them in. I'd rather be able to get these in without pulling the engine out of the cross member if I could, ideally, but that may not be possible either. I'm just hoping that at least if I can get them in from underneath, it's probably a 2-piece system, then that's probably doing about as well as I can do. So anyway, we'll get started today, and we'll see where we get to. Okay, so here we are again. It's the next day. Just a quick update to show progress from yesterday. Not as much as I would have liked, but you know, this is not what I do for a living, so I'm working stuff out as I go. So anyway, you can see I've got the number 4 looped around there, trying to get some length in it, down to my merge pipe. Again, this is just all tacked up, just with a few little spots, so it can get welded up properly by somebody who actually knows how to weld. So you can see number 4 running down to the merge, and then number 1 is coming around and dropping down, and I'm just going to make that connection to there this morning. And then once I've got those two tacked up, then I'll start on 2 and 3, and basically number 3 is going to be going first, so it drops in down here, and then number 2 is going to come over top of that one and sit in here, and so we'll do that arrangement and then drop down to meet number 3, and so they'll merge together. So 2 and 3 merge, 1 and 4 merge, and then yeah, they'll sit here like this sort of thing, and then from there it'll go down to a couple of 2-inch pipes, which will then merge into my, if I can find it, my other merge adapter. There it is, which is slightly bigger again, going from 2-inch to 2.5 outlet. So that'll sit down, you know, in there somewhere, run through underneath the cross member, gearbox cross member, and then from there it'll probably convert down to, again, maybe a 2-inch. I haven't decided what I'm going to run yet. You can see I've got the old 2-inch pipe running through there. Just got to decide whether I stay with that or I go to 2.5-inch right through. I'll probably get some advice on that as far as you know, what's going to work best. So anyway, that's where I'm at, and we'll see where we get to today. Hopefully I'll get some good progress on number 2 and 3, and basically from this I've decided, just because of the tightness of it all, that there's no way I'm going to be able to avoid but lifting the engine on one side slightly to get these things in and out. It's just not going to happen. So with that decision made, it helps me move forward to where I can get them tacked up as basically a full set of headers, rather than having them in a 2-piece arrangement. So that's the way I'm heading with this at the moment. Again, I'll probably just leave it as a 2-piece until I get it fully welded. Once it's fully welded, drop it back on, connect up my merge pipes to make it a solid 1-piece arrangement with the 4 pipes running into them, and then from there obviously it gets coated and yada yada yada. So we'll see where we go. Thanks, see you soon. Okay, so here we are. I've just carried on a little bit more this morning and made the final bend for number 1 pipe down to the merge collector there. That merge collector is just sitting there loose at the moment, just so I can sort of get my positioning right. But you can see here they are tied in, and all my clearances work out nicely. And so, as I said earlier, now I can start getting on to 2 and 3. And again, there's going to be another merge pipe that sits down, I guess, here somewhere. I'm hoping there's room. Worst case, it's got to go up here, but I'm hoping to keep it down, just to add some length to my headers. And number 3 will go down to the bottom to make it as long as possible, and number 2 will stay on top to keep it as short as possible. So sort of equal length has gone out the window with this build. It's just not going to work, but you know, you do the best you can, and you know, it's not a race car or a, you know, high performance. It's just a street car, so whatever makes it work. So anyway, this is where we're at, and we'll carry on with number 2 and 3. Alright folks, just a quick video before it gets dark. I've just finished tacking up the headers. I've got all 4 pipes in place now, and I've got the mergers just sitting there tacked in place. They'll get tacked on a little bit later on. I've got the 3rd merger, which is the large one, just tacked in place to give you an idea of what's going to happen there, but I'll actually probably put a bit of 2-inch pipe between the small one and the large one, just to get that a little bit further back in line with the gearbox cross member. But anyway, there are the pipes in place. I'm pretty happy how it's all worked out. Got good clearances everywhere, and good clearances to my bolts. I've got good access to my bolts. If I put my chassis rail in place, it's my handy dandy piece of wood, you can see that's clearance there, and that's what it's going to look like when it's in place. So yeah, I'm happy with that really. Sort of went back and forth on the routing of number 2 and 3 there, whether one should go below and the other one on top, but this is the way I've run it. Number 2 goes on top of number 3. It means number 3 is pretty short, but I let equal length headers sort of go out the window early on because it was just not going to happen, and so I'm just happy that they fit and got nice flow. From here I need to take them off and give them to my welder. He'll get all those joins welded up nicely and then give them back to me. I'm just tossing up if I can tack those mergers on myself or not before I give them to him. I think he wants them separate so he can get to all sides of those welds, so he'll have 4 individual pipes to weld up, and then I'll tack on the mergers. I think that's how it should work. So from there, obviously, once they're all welded up, I'll be able to get them coated and back in place finally. Have a slip joint down the back to connect to the main exhaust pipe, and away we go. So anyway, that's how it's all looking. I'm hoping, and I don't think I'm going to make it work, I'm hoping that I can take these off in one piece with the clearances I've got. Worst case scenario will be that I have to tilt the engine over on one engine mount just to give myself enough clearance to drop them off this side of the engine, which is not that big a deal considering how many times you actually take your headers off. So here we have it, all done. I will give you an update later on once they've progressed a little bit further. Thanks for watching. Bye. Alright, so just another quick little video here. I've just had these headers welded, or at least had the merger pipes welded on. All the joints have been welded that I just tacked up. So I've just got it sitting back in place. I've just put it back on place to see how it all fits now. Basically I took these away, bolted up to my original stock manifold you can see there. So that got it all sort of sitting in the right place, like it was mimicking being bolted to the head. And took it away and had it welded, and then had the mergers just tacked on, just to make sure they sort of cleared where I wanted to clear. You can see coming around here, I'm looking in pretty good shape. And so from here, I'm just waiting for some 2-inch pipe to come in, but they'll basically, that's only a 1-75, but the 2-inch pipe will come through here a little bit, 2 of them obviously, and we'll meet up with my next merger, which is slightly bigger again, and that'll sit, I don't know, here somewhere. Alright, for those to merge, and then that can go onto my, obviously, exhaust. So the good news of all this though, it looks like I might be able to install these headers without taking or lifting the engine up off the engine mount. If I just keep my studs just a little bit shorter, it'll help that situation, and I think I can roll these in place as a fully made up set. So what I might do is just actually give you a little bit of video of me doing that process, just take them off again and see if that's going to work. At the moment they're still in 2 pieces, so 1 and 4 and 2 or 3 are a set. But when I come to put the merger on, obviously it's going to become a full set. So the hope is that I can actually install these as a complete set without lifting the motor. So let's see how that goes. It'll be another few days probably until I get them as a set, or until I get that pipe, merge pipe connected down the bottom. So at this stage I'm just going to verify that I can actually pull these off as one piece. I think I'm looking in good shape. Anyway, I'll come back to you with that video when I get that stage. Cheers guys. Okay, welcome back. I just thought I'd give you another quick update here. This morning I'm just about to get started on trying to finish up the headers for this thing. Finally received the bit of 2-inch tubing I was needing to do that. I ordered a couple of bends in 2-inch, one 60 degree, one 45 degree, and they came in this week finally. So I've just had a bit of a play around last night just to try and figure out what I was going to do with this thing. So I've sort of just got it mocked up there at the moment just to see how I was going to run it. I took the 2 bends here and cut them through the bend because I couldn't use them the way they were, and then just sort of working out how I'm going to get back to where I want to be. You can see I've marked a line on the ground there, and that is a center point that I'm aiming for, so that it lines up with the cross member, gearbox cross member, which has the little hip in it. So I'm working to that center line there, which is marked on the ground. And also I've just got my square set up there for the height, which again is to suit the height of that. So that's giving me the position of where I want to end up at. And then I've just come in forward and I've got these 2 bits of bend that I've cut in half, and I'm just sort of working out my lengths and my direction. I think this is pretty much how it's got to end up. So today the mission is to get these tacked up and then get them dropped off for fully welding, and then last thing will be to have the V-band flange welded onto the end of the merger there. Just one half that will get welded onto the merger, other half gets welded onto the exhaust pipe and gets held together by the clamp. So that's where I'm heading today, and from there getting pretty close to being be able to send it away to be powder coated or ceramic coated. So that's the mission today. I'll give you an update later on to show you how it's finished up. Cheers, bye for now. Okay, just a quick little segment in between welding. So I've gone ahead and cleaned up the top pipe, you can see there, and tacked it on to the merger just with a few tacks. So that's all just sitting there by itself now. And then the bottom pipe I've just got sitting in there. So that bottom pipe, you can see it's got that little bend in it to help it merge in, flow into that merger pipe there. So it's just sitting in there. And then I went ahead and just made a little foil packer, which, if I can just get back a bit here, just to keep those pipes parallel. So they're just sitting there parallel to each other, and spaced evenly. And I've just got that taped up there in place, and if you look down, I've got it nicely in line there. So now I've just got to fill in that little gap in between. So I'm just going to take one of these bends here and cut a segment out of that. That will just go and fill in that gap between the bottom merger and the bottom pipe, and that'll see me heading in the right direction for the merger down here. So it's looking good so far. Back again soon. Okay, quick update. So just back from having the headers welded up some more. You can see I've got the 2 merge pipes there welded up through here now, and just this last merger and the V-band clamp to be tacked on and welded up. I think at this stage I am going to just take another half a day or so and bolt this up to the engine and push it all underneath the car and just check my clearances. Although I'm reasonably confident that everything's going to fit okay, and there's no point going to the extra expense of getting this finalised and coated then realise it doesn't actually clear somewhere. So as much as it pains me to do it, it's kind of just good insurance. So that's what I'm about to do next, is roll this underneath there and check all my clearances. So yeah, I'll might get a little bit of video of that, clean up this mess, and see if I can get this underneath the car. See you soon. Okay, morning folks. I just thought I'd do a quick little video this morning. This is the day after I've rolled the engine back underneath the car to check clearances for my headers. I have had them welded up, all except for the last merger, from going 2-to-1 merger put on the back. I thought I'd do a quick test just to see how things are looking, and kind of glad I did, because I've got some clearance issues which got me a little bit bummed out, to be honest, but I'm going to try and deal with that today. Basically my lower arms are fouling the headers, and I'm also touching the bodywork with the tailpipe of the headers. So overall, pretty uncool. The only good thing is I do have clearance to my chassis rail, but I was pretty confident of that anyway, because of the mock-up I was doing on the floor. But where I run down the back is where I'm having issues. It's just a bit of a mess. I obviously didn't have my lower arms set up correctly at the right height, and the clearances I gave it are just not enough. So I should have finished up and discussed last night. I'm just disappointed that it didn't work out as I'd hoped, but it's really only my own fault. I just didn't check my clearances well enough, and this is what happens. So today, or this morning, I am going to excuse me, I am going to double check measurements, and by that I mean I'm going to measure from the floor to this lower arm bolt point, so that when I take this back out of the car, I know how to set this back up with the jack underneath it to get it the right height off the floor, which will tell me, you know, where it's going to sit. So when I'm setting my headers up again, then I've got the right clearances allowed for the final position. At the moment, they're about, well, it's sitting about an inch, maybe a half an inch lower than it should be, the lower arm. If I was to crank it right up to where it should be on the jack there, it would be fouling the headers, which you can see through there. So I'm hoping that, I don't know, look at those, they're fully welded. I'm hoping I can just redo the mergers without too much drama. I do have some spare 45mm pipe bends. Worst comes to worst, I've just got to redo a whole bunch of work on the lower two pipes. Maybe the upper two as well, I don't know. We'll see how this goes this morning. So I'm a bit bummed out about the whole thing, but I've just got to keep on keeping on, otherwise I'll never get it done. So that's today's mission. Again, another little thing that bummed me out last night, I thought I'd just drop the radiator in place, and a couple of things have sort of changed since I did this last time. One thing is I went and put the oil cooler in down below, which you can see my lifting bar through here, so I've got a strap going through that, and that's what I'm lifting underneath the chassis rails here with to lift the body up. But now with my oil cooler in behind there, I don't have enough room to turn that thing around and drop it out below, so that's stuck there right now at this moment. So I've got to figure another way of lifting the body up, or doing something different. I might have to end up pulling that oil cooler out again until, you know, such time as I've got this engine in final time, so I can get my lifting bar out and then remount all that. That's probably the thing I'm going to have to do. But the other thing, obviously, you can probably see here, is my clearances for my radiator and my electric fan are just about non-existent. It's just tight as, well, you know what. So, I don't know. It's another thing I'm just going to worry about later on, I think, at the moment, because I just need to do one thing at a time. Ideally, I'd just really like to replace this radiator with something more modern and thinner to give me the clearances I need. So, I don't know, I'll think about that one. At the moment, I'm just going to concentrate on my headers, getting those reworked, and carry on from there. Just one thing at a time at the moment. Alright guys, we'll catch up with you again after I've got this out again and worked out how I'm going to alter my headers. Cheers, talk to you later. Hi, just another little note I guess I wanted to make about what's happened with the installation of this Lotus engine, and that's regarding the ride height that's been affected. Obviously it's an all alloy engine, so it's quite a bit lighter than the old Vauxhall mill, and I scraped out an old drawing that I done, an old cartoon, just showing some dimensions of where the car was set up when I did it originally. And so I've just been checking those, and the rear is what it is. I measured basically from the floor to this point here, and then I also measured from the wheel arch to the centre of the wheel, and they're both the same as what it was previously. But when I come to the front, what have I got it at? So from the floor to the body line, I had it 678. And if I was to show you now where it's sitting, if I can do this with my hands, wait. So where are we? This is going to be a bit hard to do. Here we go. Try this. So at the moment, you can see we're sitting. If I was to do this about level, it's about 718 on my orochrometer, and so 718 and 678 is a total of 40 mil difference. And so you can see, I've come up quite a bit here, and it's showing 40 mil clearance I've gained just through putting this lighter engine in. So that's, I guess that's one positive that's come out of this whole thing, is you can see a physical difference in what you're doing. So in other words, it's going to be lighter over the front end, which helps for your performance, of course, for stopping, for handling, and everything else. So that's a positive result. It just means now I'm going to have to get some shorter springs made to get it back down where it should be to suit the back. So anyway, that's just a little interesting little observation I've made, and another job added to the list. But anyway, it's all good. Just thought I'd show you that. Thanks. Out for now. Okay, just another quick little update here. I meant to tag on to the end of that last video. I think I mentioned that I was having ride height issues due to the lightness of the front end now, the new motor in it, and that it had popped up 40 mils on the suspension. So what I did when I had the front end out previously is I took the coil out on this side and took off half a coil off the length of the spring at the start point, and put it back in again, knowing that I couldn't go too much shorter because I could see that it wasn't going to be encapsulated in the mounts if I went too much shorter. So anyway, I put it back in and set it back down on the ground, and to my delight, it has sat down exactly where I need it to sit. In fact, just a little bit lower than I had it previously, by maybe 10 mil. So that's really cool. That's half a coil has dropped it down basically 50 mil essentially, which is really surprising. As you can see, I've still got plenty of clearances around my wheel arch, so I'm not concerned about that. I haven't gone crazy low. It's just a nice ride height, just slightly lower than I had it previously. So I'm really happy with that, and no more work's going to be required. What I have to do now is take the spring out of the other side and do the same thing and get both sides even, and I'm good to go again. So that's a real nice little win today I've had, and one less thing I have to worry about. So anyway, that's another little chapter there, and we'll carry on and catch up there later. Cheers. Okay, just a quick update. It's the end of the day here on Saturday. I've just pulled these back out of the car, so the car's back up on the hoist, and I just lifted the car straight up this time, and so I just left the rest of it in place so I can pull the headers out as it sits here at the moment, so that's quite nice. So just to save a bit of time, I've done that and bolted the headers back up to the old cast manifold, so it keeps them all in place, and then tomorrow I will take them to be fully welded. Have the last merger put on and the V-band put on the end of it, and then they are good to go. There's a bit of messing around, but at the end of the day, doing them in situ with the body on and me underneath the car just ended up being the correct way of doing it to make sure I had the clearances. So that's how we ended up, and not as pretty as they were, but once they've finished being welded and ground up and painted, they'll look $1,000,000. Anyway, that's all for now. Till next time. Okay folks, well here we are, Lotus headers version 2 I guess you'd call it. Had to do a little bit of rework after I put the car down on the chassis and down on the subframe and checked my clearances, and rejigged it and did the work underneath the car as I should have done probably in the first place, just to make it work. Got all my clearances where I need them, and had the headers fully welded today, complete with the last merger and the V-band connection or clamp at the end. So that's them. I'm probably going to get these painted now. I was going to go ceramic coating, but frankly I just don't think it's going to be necessary. I am going to have them sandblasted and get a local powder coat place to paint them for me. I'll supply them in some heat-proof paint and see how that goes, I think. So yeah, that's where we're at. From there I can put them on the car finally and drop this thing down where it should be, and then start making some connections. In saying that, I do have to still change out my timing belt pulley there, which I've ordered from the UK, so I probably can't, well, I'll be wise not to drop this down until I've done that job and put a new belt and bearing on. And the other thing I've done is just finished up my new radiator, which I've just got drying out in the sun here. This is my Nissan radiator that I've adapted to suit the Firenza. You can see I've had some brackets put on the side there that I fabricated up, one on each side, and they worked out pretty well. The cutout suits the shape of the headlights nicely, and I've maximised the width of the radiator to suit. So next thing will be to put this in place and see where the electric fan fits best to avoid my pulleys, and that should be good to go. So fairly productive weekend so far, happy with that, and from here it's onwards and upwards and just carry on with the effort. Probably during the week I'm going to take the spring out of the driver's side suspension there and take a half cord out of that to match the one on the passenger side, because I'm happy with the ride height on the left hand side. And from there I guess again just try and get it to a stage where I can drop it down for the last time and start making final connections. Alright, well that's where we stand today. Again, I'm happy with the progress this weekend. Had to go backwards a little bit this week to go forwards, but hey, it's just what it is. Alright folks, see you next time.